Couple things changed from the last time we had a meeting at our walkthrough. Must have been a month or so ago. We finished all the site concrete here. Most of the final grading is done. We'll have a little bit of cleanup here with some of the stormwater stuff once final stabilization is done on the outside of the building, which I think the school is doing internally. The horticulture department's handling all that in the spring. Other than that, nothing's really changed up on the building. All the metal panels are now, for the most part, done, minus the soffit on the backside. Like I said the last time, as soon as we get all the rooftop equipment set, finish any poke-through penetrations that we have in the roof, they'll be back out to finish all the parapet cap around the outside of the building, and then do any miscellaneous roof patching that we need as well too, just so we don't have any openings in the roof to allow anything to get inside the building. So, like I said, this will be like the delivery driveway per se. There'll be 2 bollards right by the front door there, just to keep any vehicles from backing into the building physically when they're backing up on this driveway here. Those aren't installed yet, but as soon as we get those in, we'll get those painted. Yeah, really on the outside of the building isn't too much different here. We did finish all the metal panels on the back side of this side over here. And walk around here, just watch your step. So you can see all the metal panels are done on this side of the building. Now we were holding off until we finished the steam line. You can kind of see some of the trenching or the grading that we had to do to allow the water coming off of this dorm room here out to flow out through the street there. So all the stormwater here will go out that way. Everything from our building runs to the east here. So really not a whole lot different outside here. We can hop inside the building. So it probably looks quite a bit different in here from the last time. Most of the sheetrock is done now. There are a few pieces that we're holding out, just waiting until we get some access control items wrapped up on the exterior door here. Handful of taping is complete. We do have a little bit of taping left to go where we tie into the existing Knutson Center that we were waiting on the steam line being completed. Other than that, finish-wise, the mechanical, all of our electrical gear is now installed. They've got all their main panel and the guts for all the panels throughout the space here installed as well. Our mechanical contractor is working through some of the routing and rough-in for the heat system. You can kind of see up top there where he's got the loop tied together. That'll be the main steam line coming in, the supply and the return for the hot water in the building. So this little unit here you see here, that's basically the heat exchanger. So there'll be steam that flows in through that, and the 2 copper lines coming off the end. It'll basically take the heat from the steam to reheat the water in the continuous loop that they have in the building for the heating. Same thing back here. Washer and dryer scheduled right here. Just a shared bathroom. This will be kind of the main storage room in back here. So as you kind of see, a lot of the primer's been going up on the walls now. We'll have to prime the walls before we can put our FRP paneling on the walls. We'll take a look at that over here a little bit too. But so it gets a primer, and then we physically put a fiberglass panel over top of this to cover it, and then it provides kind of a cleanable surface for the students and staff too. So kind of going this way here. You can kind of get a look. Our mechanical insulator is working through getting a lot of the hot water recirc lines insulated right now. Getting most of the pipe insulation done. They'll come back and finish all the elbows as well. Kind of like you kind of get a better idea what the space is now that there's sheetrock on the walls. So this will be the main kind of hot cooking area in back here below the hoods. There'll be a couple fridges here underneath this U-shaped soffit that you're looking at here. That's where kind of the hot serving counter is going to be located. And then kind of on that back wall where you can see the tile backer board, there'll be a tile accent strip there and a stainless counter that'll have all the desserts and beverages along that counter there as well too. Same thing here. This probably hasn't looked a whole lot different. The 2 recesses at kind of the storage area right now. That's where the fridge and freezer will be located, so easy access for the staff to grab items right in back here and not have to go too far. Go back here, kind of take a look at some of this FRP. I kind of get a look at it here. This is FRP. They went with a smooth finish on this, which is a little bit different than what you typically see. Usually the finish on here will have kind of a pebbled finish, but the spec for the project called for a smooth finish on the FRP, so that's what they're getting. So obviously they come in, I think these came in 4x10 sheets to get above the 9'6" ceiling that we have in this area. And they'll obviously continue that throughout the space. Basically this whole area back here, and then everything going in the back besides the physical storage room is all going to get this FRP as well too. So basically the whole space will have an easily cleanable surface. Basically how this stuff is installed is we've got buckets of glue and they just trowel on the glue. You can kind of see some of the overage up on top there. They trowel on the glue, put the sheets on, and then roll the sheets, and it basically adheres itself to the sheetrock behind the wall too. So all the outlets you see here, these are just kind of above counter outlets. Same thing here. This whole wall will get FRP as well, minus kind of the checkout desk area. Kind of see some of this will be the grease pump out port. So any of the floor sinks, kind of the serving area drains will drain, all go through this grease interceptor before it goes out to the city sewer. This basically just takes the solids out of the water, and there's a pump out port so that the company doesn't have to physically come in the building to vac out all the stuff. They can just hook up to the port on the outside of the building and suck all that stuff out there as well too. So kind of get a look at a couple of the offices here. This will be the manager's office there with kind of the decent sized window and some nice light coming in from the south. You can kind of see some of the pipes that are routed up here. That's for all the fin tube piping, or fin tube heaters. So there's just like a register that runs along the bottom of the wall there that provides some supplemental heat, mostly along the outside of the building here. So same thing here. This is just another shared office, I think, is this one here. That's the manager's office. This will be a shared office for some more staff as well. So kind of in the same spots here. These will all get eventually painted. The two offices are painted. Outside here, we'll get the FRP that we talked about. Same thing moving over here. I can't remember if this hood was up the last time. I think it was. This will be the dish drop-off area. So going through here, this will have a coiling door. There'll be a U-shaped countertop. So basically, students and staff drop off their trays or their dishes right here. They can rack them into the racks and run them right through the dishwasher. Kind of a nice simple step to get through here. There'll be a 3-compartment sink kind of along this area for washing off as well too. But that'll be kind of the main drop-off area for all the dishes and tools. Kind of going in through here too, it obviously it'll look a lot different once the ceiling gets installed here. Basically, I think 4 inches above the top of that soffit, or the bottom of that soffit, is where the ceiling grid's going to start. So that'll basically run around and tie in with the hoods as well as everything else through here. This whole area here, I think, has a 9'6" ceiling height, and then it drops to 8'6" in the back there as well. So you can kind of see the bulkhead. That's basically a separation from one ceiling height to the other to allow it to kind of give it a clean look. Moving this way here, there is going to be a cold salad counter out in the middle here, so you'll have your U-shaped hot serving area, cold serving counter here for I'm assuming salads and things of that nature. Moving out here, this is kind of the dining area. I don't know if there was any sheetrock on the last time we did the update. So most of the sheetrock's up. Like I said, we're just finishing some tie-ins to the existing building here on that soffit, trying to get everything wrapped up there for the taper to finish. We got a couple more pieces there, and then also along the upper part of the window there, just kind of waiting for some confirmations from our window shade supplier as far as where they need power before we can kind of finish that area up there. So other than that, this whole area here will get, this will all be painted. Same thing with the ceiling. The cloud, there's actually going to be a ceiling cloud that kind of hangs in here. And pretty much it runs where you're seeing the fire suppression piping is all going to be within that cloud, if that makes sense. It's about roughly 4 feet off of each wall is where the cloud is. So that cloud will be a little bit lower, I think about 11 feet. And then obviously outside that, all this area here is all going to be painted. So what we're kind of coordinated with the architect is we're picking a spot. The elevation of the ceiling cloud is where the paint is going to change on the walls there. So we'll have the paint color for the walls. And then at a certain point, we will stop that and start our paint from there up, as well as all the stuff that's outside the cloud will get that same paint color as well too. So I think the storefront was in last time. We still were waiting on a couple pieces of glass that got ordered wrong, but as soon as that gets delivered here, I think they were waiting on all of our metal doors and wood doors, so they could get measurements on those and send all the glass up and finish their install when that's done. These are the two exterior doors, kind of the back doors that we walked in from the wood there. Painter's working on getting those painted. Hopefully this week we'll get those installed to more easily secure the building as well too. Kind of what we've been doing, been having to secure it every night after everybody's gone, but this will basically function as the final door. So as soon as we get those set up, we'll put some protection on these doors so they don't get all chipped up or scratched up from, you know, people walking in and out. Kind of moving this way here, kind of get a better look at where we tie into the existing building here. So basically this line here is where the old building stopped. So anything from this point out is new. You can kind of see here, this is what was demoed from the exterior windows previously. So all these columns are getting wrapped basically to match the whole way down here. Then kind of moving this way as well. I know we talked last time about the steam line. So the steam line actually runs in a loop under there's a tunnel on the outside of this building in the basement. So what we had to do was come with our steam up from the tunnel, route through the existing building, get into the new building, and then go back down to tie in Milligan Hall to the south there. So that's kind of why this whole soffit is here. This is basically to hide and to cover the steam piping as well as some fire suppression piping coming into the building here. So all the main fire suppression lines, you can kind of see some of the branch lines coming out of the soffit as well too. So now, being that we're tying a new addition to an unsprinkled building, the way that the code reads is we have to fully sprinkle this building as well too. So this existing building will all have a wet fire suppression system as well too. So just finishing a couple little odds and ends back in here. Really that'll be pretty much it for inside the existing building of what we're working on. Obviously the temp wall that you're seeing here is just for construction. So as soon as we finish up everything here, and we're kind of getting into the finishing stages, what we'll probably do is pull this wall down and then put some smaller barriers between these columns here to kind of isolate the new construction from the existing space as well too. So yeah, I guess other than that, like I said, insulators are working through here now. HVAC guys are finishing some of their duct branch lines out for this cloud area. Insulators will get everything insulated here this week, and we should be pretty well set to kind of move forward here. I kind of touch a little bit too. So all the flooring in the kitchen area is all going to get an epoxy floor. There's two different types. One is basically kind of up to the dishwash area, basically where the area where students will be walking into is getting a flake flooring. Everything behind there is, trying to think off the top of my head what it is. It's a different type of urethane product that gets put down as well too. So they'll actually be out here next week. What they have to do is they got to come through and grind this whole floor. Everywhere their flooring goes, they got to grind the floor to roughen up the concrete so they can get proper adhesion on it. So they grind through, take off all the high spots, fill in some of the low spots, and then they'll come back through and shot blast everything. So basically shoots little tiny steel beads at the concrete to kind of break it up and kind of open some of the pores in the concrete so you get better adherence to the concrete as well too. So yeah, that's about it. Some of the timelines we're looking at right now, it sounds like the rooftop unit, which has been kind of back ordered. Originally they were saying we weren't going to see it until 2022. They were able to push that date up a little bit, and the units actually sounds like will be finished here by the end of this week, and will deliver the end of next week. So coordinating with our mechanical contractor to get everything set there. You can kind of see here's the supply and the return here for the rooftop unit. You know, so the supply is typically what is insulated. The return is typically not insulated if it's not in the spec. So they've got both of their supply and returns running up through, sitting up to the curb where the rooftop unit's going to set onto. just to kind of prep for when that unit shows up. So yeah, really other than that, kind of right now are just trying to get some delivery dates on some of the final food service equipment. A lot of the stainless steel we've been seeing some longer lead times on. Just trying to pin down some dates from our supplier and schedule the installer. It sounds like the installers will be back out the end of this month, the week after Thanksgiving, to get started on their first install of everything that we have to date. And then as soon as we get the balance of the other equipment, which is likely going to be late December, early January, before they schedule their last trip to install the balance of the food service equipment. So that's about it. Questions? Perfect.
Cool.